Hello, my friends. Hello, and welcome once again to stately Von Manor. And today we're going to get all classy. You know, if I was going to get all classy, you'd think I would have shaved. Oh well. We're going to get all classy anyway, talking about some classic books. So, as I'm filming this, I'm in the middle of the reading event Garbogust, which is created by CriminOlly, where I've been inundated with trashy books. Gloriously trashy books. But one thing it's made me think about is, oddly enough, classic books and all the classic books that I want to get to. And I've thought a lot about this. I spent too much time thinking about books, I think. Oh well. And I've talked a lot about the classic books that I have not read, the classic books that I want to read. And so I thought I should sit down and really think about, out of all the classic books that I want to get to, which ones I'm going to prioritize. And so I made a short list of classic books I want to read before I get to any other classic books. I'm ridiculous this way. So I came up with this list. This is my Classics TBR. And then once I read these books, whenever the heck it is, whenever I finish these, then I'll make another one. But yeah, these are the classic books I want to read, and I'll just have to try to fit them in around every other damn thing that I'm doing with my reading and my channel. So the first book I was supposed to read this year, but all the reading events I got involved with in BookTube kind of destroyed all of my plans, which is understandable in this case because this book is gigantic. This is The Mysteries of Paris by Eugene Sue. The Mysteries of Paris. This is very, very long. What is this? 1,363 pages long. So it's kind of long, and they're big pages. This is a big book. So this is one that I really wanted to get to. Apparently, this is not a classic because it is so well written. It is not, from what I hear. It is not exactly a penny dreadful, but it is a very pulpy kind of sensation novel, that kind of thing. And I just don't have time for it. It looks like this year. It's not looking good. So I have to find a time to read this, because this is going to take, what, a big chunk of a month probably for me, depending on what my work schedule is like, what I have going on in my life, because the time I have to read really varies. So yeah, this is going to be time consuming, but at the same time, I really, really want to read it. So yeah, I don't know when I'm going to get to it now. I'm thinking maybe early next year, maybe, if I'm lucky. We'll see. We'll see how things shake out, but it's definitely on my TBR to read. This is a high priority classic. Let's put it that way. And like I said, its status as a classic might be a bit shaky because, it kind of is kind of trashy from what I hear, but very, very influential and important. So yeah, Mysteries of Paris. I'm going to get to that whenever I can. The next one is a big book as well, but it's not as big as that book. And that is, of course, Middlemarch. Middlemarch by George Eliot, a book people are always saying very good things about, very nice things about this book. Middlemarch. It is apparently a classic I really should have read by now. Yes, I'm aware. I should have read this by now. And it's pretty big. What is this, 800 pages, something like that? Yeah, 850, something like that. So this is going to be time consuming as well. But not as bad as The Mysteries of Paris, but definitely it's one I really want to get to. I kind of feel silly that I haven't read this yet. But yeah, George Eliot, Middlemarch, got to read that. Now this next one I'm positively embarrassed that I haven't read it yet because I really love this writer. He wrote what I consider the greatest novel ever written, you know, out of the novels I've read anyway. And that would be The Brothers Karamazov. That is, of course, Fyodor Dostoevsky. This is Demons, also known as The Possessed, depending on who is translating the novel. Yeah, it's shocking. Shocking that I haven't read this yet. I've been kind of putting it off for some reason. I don't know why. Sometimes I do that with, if there's an author that I really like and there are only a couple books left that I haven't read from that author, I'll put them off. So I'll still have something from them. This is kind of like that. Demons, Dostoevsky. Definitely got to get to it. So I'm making this a priority. So yeah, this is definitely on my TBR. Definitely. That's on the list. Now there are 2 books from Joseph Conrad that I haven't read yet. Again, I've been kind of putting them off because there's not many books that I could think of that I haven't already read from Joseph Conrad. I've read a lot of Joseph Conrad, a lot. But I haven't read these for some reason. And one is The Shadow Line by Joseph Conrad. This was written at the beginning of World War I believe. And I think this was written around the same time that his son, Joseph Conrad's son, went to fight in that war. So The Shadow Line, I really have not read much about this. So I don't know much about The Shadow Line, just that it's really short and it's a book by Conrad that I have not read yet. So that's good enough for me. So The Shadow Line by Joseph Conrad, that's one of them. This other one from Joseph Conrad that I have not read yet is Victory. Victory. Now, from what I hear, this is not one of Conrad's best books. I don't believe this book is particularly highly regarded, Victory. This is the 20th Century Classics edition that Penguin did for a while. But since it is a Joseph Conrad book, I want to read it. And I have not read this one yet. Victory by Joseph Conrad. Any of you guys read this book? Probably. Let me know what you think of Victory by Joseph Conrad. I mean, even if you say it's crap, I'm going to read it anyway because it's Joseph Conrad and I haven't read it yet. So there you go. Victory by Joseph Conrad. I want to get to those. This next one, I really don't know why I haven't read it yet because it's Wilkie Collins. And even when Wilkie Collins is bad, he's entertaining. And this is No Name by Wilkie Collins. Now this is one of the books that is, I guess, more highly regarded from Wilkie Collins. It's not quite up there with The Moonstone or The Woman in White. But I believe it is a more highly regarded Wilkie Collins novel. And all of his stuff was kind of sensational, which is why we love Wilkie Collins. And this is No Name. It's supposed to be full of Wilkie Collins type stuff. So yeah, No Name, a sensation novel from Wilkie Collins. Yeah, he's always fun. I mean, even when he's ridiculous, he's fun. So of course I want to read this, and I don't know why I haven't read it yet. I've had this copy sitting around forever, but I always seem to be reading something else. That's my problem. I'm always reading something else. So yeah, definitely want to get to this. And this next one, I've never even thought of reading until I started watching Book Time with Elvis, Mark's channel, Book Time with Elvis. And this is one of Mark's favorite books. That is Three Men in a Boat by Jerome K. Jerome. And this edition also has Three Men on a Bummel, which apparently is the thrilling sequel to Three Men in a Boat. There are the 3 men there, I'm assuming. So, yeah, I want to get to this just because Mark likes it so much. And he's talked a lot about this book. It's supposed to be kind of a humorous book, which, you know, I don't read too much of, but I'll read this one. 3 Men in a Boat and 3 Men on a Bummel. Classic stuff. So yeah, definitely want to get to this. I've intended to get to this for a while. but I haven't. You know how that goes. So anyway, one of my very favorite authors of all time is H.G. Wells. So you'd think I would have read everything by H.G. Wells, but he wrote a lot of books. He wrote a lot of books, and there are a few of them I have not read yet. And so I've got a few of them here that I haven't read yet. And the first one of these I just showed the other day, and that is The World Set Free by H.G. Wells, a book I have not heard much about. As a title, I've seen it around, and I probably have an ebook copy of this because I've got a lot of H.G. Wells on my Kindle, but I finally found a physical copy of it, and so I thought, I gotta read that. I haven't read that. I haven't even heard much about this book, so yeah, The World Set Free. I think this is one of his later books. Yeah, 1913. He wrote this in 1913. So, The World Set Free. Definitely want to read that. And this next one I've been hearing about forever. I saw the movie when I was a kid. And that is The Shape of Things to Come. The Shape of Things to Come. Again, I haven't heard much about the book itself. I heard a lot about the movie when they made it, but the book I haven't heard much about. And it's a fairly lengthy book for him. It's over 400 pages, it looks like, yeah. So, The Shape of Things to Come. Any of you guys read this book? It's a novel of the near future. Yeah. When Dr. Philip Raven, an intellectual working for the League of Nations, dies in 1930, he leaves behind a powerful legacy, an unpublished dream book inspired by visions he has experienced for many years. It appears to be a book written far into the future, a history of humanity, from the date of his death up to 2105. So, yeah, that sounds cool. I want to read that. The next one is one of his social novels. So not one of his science fiction novels, but it's supposed to be one of his good social novels. So I'm kind of surprised I haven't read this one either. And this is The New Machiavelli. I've had this copy for a while now. Still haven't read the book, but here it is. The New Machiavelli. So yeah, I got to read this too. So 3 books from H.G. Wells that I've got to read. I've got a few more. And this next one is a reread, actually. I just have this, I'm holding up this Oxford copy of Arthur Machen because I have it handy. But this is actually not what I'm going to be reading. I have a 3-volume set that was edited by S.T. Joshi. Was it the complete fiction of Arthur Machen? I have that. So that is what I'm going to be reading. I thought, you know what? I should just read everything from this guy since I like his book so much. And so that's what I'm going to do. Going to read all of Arthur Machen's fiction. He did a lot of translation work, but I'm not going to read that. I'm going to read his fiction. This next one I've read before, but I read it in 2007. I think I read this in 2007. So this is The White Company by Arthur Conan Doyle. This is one of Arthur Conan Doyle's historical novels, and this is actually a really nice edition of this. So, yeah, The White Company by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I read this, I think, right after I got, I think it was the Kindle. I got the Kindle, but it was like the second version that they had, I think, where it had that little keyboard at the bottom. Really clunky thing. The screen didn't light up or anything. And this is one of the first books I read on the Kindle because I got it for free. And I found a nice hardcover copy of this book, so I'm going to read that. And the last one, I've mentioned before a couple times that I want to read this. And that is, of course, The Man Who Laughs by Victor Hugo. I have this print-on-demand hardcover because Oxford doesn't print this, Penguin doesn't print this, nobody prints this as a classic. And even if it's crap, it's Victor Hugo, so why the hell aren't you printing this book? People would probably buy it, you know, if you published it. Oh well, Victor Hugo's The Man Who Laughs. I don't know how good this book is. I haven't heard much about the book. I've heard more about the silent film that they've made back in the olden days. But as for the book itself, I haven't heard too much about it. And so, yeah, really want to read it. I mean, it's Victor Hugo. So there you go. That's just enough. It's Victor Hugo. That's enough to read it, right? A couple of Victor Hugo books I've yet to read, but that one I really want to read. So there you go. That's my Classics TBR. I've gone on long enough. I will catch you next time.